All right, let me just make sure. Yes, we are live. Perfect. So, welcome to our using G Suite and Schoology video for today. I am Rachel Pearson, and you're probably seeing me twice on my screen or on your screen because we had to quick do a flex and figure out how are we going to share video because Streamyard was giving us some trouble for some reason. So I am in Zoom with our special guest today and sharing my screen that way. So if you see me twice, I'm sorry, but it's just a double dose of goodness from my face, I guess. So I am super excited to have Timm here, who's going to talk to us a little bit about Schoology and how Schoology plays well with G Suite for Education. So welcome, Doug. Nope, you're great. I'm going to just figure out how to pin you to the top. Yes, looks great. No, that's all right. Sorry, I'm here. I'm just dealing with some spammers in another event that's happening. So really, you could load up everything for the whole school year if you wanted, and then turn on things on and off as you see fit. Mm-hmm. Okay, Doug, I'm going to pause you for a second because I am seeing that folks are having trouble hearing you. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to mute myself there. Let's get this figured out here.
Can you see me on the Streamyard now?
Yes.
Just like cut out Zoom and just come here.
So let's figure out. Try and share your screen into the Streamyard, please.
Okay. No problem. I can do that.
Thank you so much, everyone, for trying to get this figured out.
Yeah, sorry. I will stop sharing here. All right. Do you see my Schoology? Hold on. You see my Schoology page now?
Yes. So I'm going to leave the Zoom.
Yes, please do.
And then we can talk to each other here.
All right. And you see my Schoology page right now?
Yes. Okay. Things are figured out. All right.
All right. All right. Do I need to start over, or where do you want to go with this?
So people have been watching your screen.
Okay.
But they're asking, yes, if you could just give the quick and easy version of what we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. I apologize, everyone.
No, it's no problem. So Schoology is a learning management system. There are really two different parts to it. There's courses and groups. Groups we use more as collective spaces to share information, but courses is what you really use to deliver content and information to students. Within courses, there's the gradebook, updates, and materials. The update section is somewhere where you can post an announcement. So fill out this survey, and you might have a link for a Google survey you want to put in there, and you just stick it in there, and then the kids can fill it out each morning. It's just a running record of what people want to post. I've allowed students in the past to post, if they created a cool YouTube dance video and they wanted to put their link in there, by all means, make it a fun space. So This course was created for my staff to deliver professional development. So my students in here, if you look at members, I didn't go over this, but my students are my staff. So these are all of my different staff members. They're also been given teams, and I'll get into that maybe in a minute. But let's go back to materials, and this is kind of where I stopped. One of the things to think about when creating content in Schoology is you're creating content for the end user. It's not a binder for you to keep lesson plans and information. It's really for the end user to see. So, for example, in course options, you can view course as, and I would suggest that you always do this. So you pick a student in your class, and I will pick my psychologist, Olivia. I'm going to be her for a minute. And it says, this is how the course looks to Olivia. And then I can go through my course and see what is in there, or what does it look like from her perspective versus mine. So I'm going to go back to this November 1st PD folder. And I created 2 assignments where I've embedded some things from Google. And I already realized I made a mistake when I did this last night. And I'll show you that if you missed it from earlier. So this is what the user is going to see when they open up this particular assignment. It says, please review the following information and answer the questions on the Google Doc. So what I put in here was the slides for opening of the year. And I have the beginning of the year calendar, and I'm going to go over with staff. We have 2 different plans. We're doing a face-to-face and a remote option. But you can put anything in here on these slides. And then after they viewed that, I have questions for them to answer. Now, here is why this is a good idea to do this as a user, because what I realized right here is I didn't open up the doc for sharing permissions for everyone. So therefore, I need to go back to that document in my drive and open it and share it with everyone. And I'm not going to do that right now, but that's why it's important to go through as a student and see exactly where you are with that. All right. So that being said, let me go back to my assignments. Let me go back to my course. So that's a slide. That's easy enough to put in there. Something else you guys probably use quite often are Google Forms. Same idea, but you create an assignment. And I'll show you how to do this in a minute. I just want to show you the end result first. So why I am dope, right? That's a hard survey to fill out. So I figured this out. I created this last night. And when you embed it within Schoology, you don't have to go out of the platform. So everything is within Schoology. And sorry, my thing is a little slow. So you would answer the questions, and then you could submit it. And then obviously it would collect email addresses if you choose to do that. And then it would go and your data would be on the form in your drive. So you wouldn't, because you've embedded a Google form in Schoology, the data then isn't stored in Schoology, it's stored in Google. So you'd have to go back to that drive to see that data. Now you can create multiple question things in Schoology that are stored in Schoology, but that's probably a later lesson. All right, so let me stop. Go back to, sorry. Go back to materials, yes, I believe. And I will show you how. So going back to the same folder. So you're a teacher and you're saying to yourself, I'm going to start creating some things. So the first thing you want to do is create a folder, which is just add materials. And again, it can be content specific or week 1, week 2, however you want to organize that. Once your folder is created, you would then open your folder and you're going to hit add materials. Again, assignments are very useful. There's a lot to them. You can do tests and quizzes, which could be multiple choice. It could be short answers, multiple different things for that. You can just put links in here, like a link to a YouTube video or a file that you might have on your computer. You can do discussions, and discussions are just simply you pose something or you put an article or put a video in there, and then the students are allowed to respond without necessarily turning anything in. It just becomes a running record of their thoughts. So I'm going to go back to assignment though, because this is probably the most robust of all of the different tools. And you give it a name. So this is just a test assignment. I'm just going to call it. And then you would give it some sort of direction. So for example, please complete the Google Doc. Now, something to think about is when you are here, I oftentimes make these, I'll make it bold. I might make it larger font just so that it kind of sticks out for the kids. I might give it a different, different color. And that way it just kind of sticks out a little bit for them. And then from this point, you can assign from these different apps. Now, we as a district have purchased Kami. We have this TextHelp PDF reader. But I know with you all, I know it was shared that the Google Assignments is really what you guys are thinking. So if this app is already attached to your courses, which would be the administrator of the Schoology, whoever that is in your district, once they attach that app, then you just click on it. And then you find in here whatever it is that you are looking for. So for example, I mean, these are just my files, obviously. I haven't found there's any rhyme or reason to how they're organized in here. But if you type something like, for example, I want to do my handbook and have staff respond to that, then I can just take the handbook. It's a spreadsheet. Let's make it a document. Let's just call it the agenda. Let's just say this is questions and answers. If I want to attach that, it's simple as that. You would have to give it a due date if you so choose to do that. Maybe I want to do by next Friday. You give it a category. Again, without going into like the more advanced, right now I'm just going to leave it as completion. For this school year, you can give it a factor, which would be a weighting part of it. And then how do you want it graded? Pass, fail. We've entered some, William Penn is our high school, so we've entered, William Penn has their own grading scale, so they've customized that. But for right now, I'm just going to do complete, incomplete. I can align learning objectives to it. And then again, a more advanced course might be individually assigned, so I can actually type in users. Or what I have done is my staff, I've given them names, like for example, the Phillies are the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm from that area. They're a group of staff members. So maybe you have high, medium, and low, whatever, and you can assign it just to that group of people, so only they could see it. So I know that's a lot. I don't know, Rachel, are there any questions? I can't see. I don't want to.
So I just wanted to comment, the Google Drive assignments then, that's Google Assignments that's working through Schoology or Canvas or whatever LMS you're using that is now officially out of beta as of today. Okay. So your Schoology manager can enable that as one of the apps that works with Schoology, and you'll have that ease of use as far as pulling assignments into your Schoology page. And so you can see it says this will create a copy for each student. That's just like the feature that happens in Google Classroom, but here in Schoology, if this is what your school is using for its LMS.
Yep, it's exactly, exactly. Yep.
Stephanie just mentioned she loves the insert feature. I put that on the screen for a little bit. And we do not have any other questions so far. So if you do have questions, those of you who are watching right now, feel free to put them in the chat and we will do our best to address things before the end of our stream today. Yeah.
So there it is. It's a test assignment, and all of a sudden, again, I can view it as a student. Now, of course, it's probably, I don't have permission for that document open for everybody, so it'll probably stop me. But I can at least show you what it looks like from the student's perspective. And I would do this with every single assignment, quiz, test, whatever you put in there, because the end user here is really the ultimate goal. What does it look like to them? So again, I'll go back to that November 1st. And then that's that test assignment. Please complete the Google Doc. I didn't get myself, but you get the idea. It would open up as a Google Doc. You would type in what you need to do, and then you would actually hand it in. There's an option to hand in the work there, so I apologize for that, but that's kind of where we are with that. Now, I don't know what other directions you want to go. I mean, the attaching, as far as finding something from your drive to put in your assignments is it's just that one click, and I'll do it one more time. But I can certainly talk to you about the overall, what can Schoology do, or what other kind of direction you want to go. But again, it's just add assignment, type in your message, and then right here is that Google Drive assignments. You just want to click on that, and you find whatever it is you want to put in there. Just make sure that those permissions are open for everybody. Right there. Now, the other thing that you can do, so if I go to, let me find a form that I created. So let's just say it's this form. This is one. I think this is the one I made last night. So if you want to embed a form, oops, didn't mean to click that. Let's try this again. So you would get the embed code from send. You just copy it. So you go form 2. And again, to embed a form is a little bit different. Here is the form. So for this, you would actually, this little button, insert content, becomes useful. So you can insert a link, but if you want to do it as an embedded form, you would do insert comment, image and media from the web, and then media. And then you would just post that embed code in there. And then from the user's perspective, they'll see the form. Right now, it looks a little different for whatever reason. It always has done this. I don't know why, but once it's published, it'll be completely fine. I'll show you. So once you publish it,
it's kind of just like adding a little HTML element inside there.
Yeah, exactly. So once you publish
there it is.
There it is, and it's all within the platform. So again, very useful. I mean, I love Schoology and how you can manipulate it to do kind of whatever it is you need. There are things also that you can put within a folder. So let me show you how we used it in the spring when we were completely remote, and how we're going to use it again in the fall when we're completely remote.
So what I'm looking at is it looks a little different than the last time I tried Schoology for myself.
Okay.
So I see that it's like branded for your school. Is that something that you have to pay extra for, or is that like a free version thing? Or tell us a little bit about pay structure and what it costs.
Okay, we do have a Premier subscription, I guess, or an enterprise subscription. So you're right. So like, for example, Colonial, School District, the power of we is kind of our motto. So the state of Delaware actually pays for every student in the state of Delaware to have access to Schoology as a learning management system, and they have for a few years now. So it actually is also tied into we use PowerSchool for our management of students. So it ties into PowerSchool. So as a student registers in PowerSchool, it automatically creates them a Schoology account, which is a nice feature because you don't have to manage those classes.
Yeah, for sure.
They're managed for you. I don't know if there's any other questions, or I don't want to get too in depth, but I can certainly continue on just to talk about some of the other options or other things that are within Schoology.
Yeah, we do have a question from Stephanie. I'll pop it on the screen here. She asks, I'm assuming they asked, what are different ways are you using G Suite apps? So drawings or mind maps, slides, sheets, etc., for students to complete assignments.
So mind
map teachers, yeah.
Yeah. Mind maps, not so much. I don't know what happened. I think I'm frozen here. But we definitely use Google Drawings for multiple things. We force copy a lot of stuff for students, which is what will happen when you put it in Schoology. So we'll ask kids to, I'm completely frozen here. I'm sorry. Can you still hear me, Rachel?
Yes, I hear you. You're good.
All right.
I'll watch your screen and see when it comes back. Yep.
Completely froze. But so Google Drawings and things, we definitely use those. We use a lot of Google Forms for quizzes and tests. Obviously Google Forms are useful because you can put videos in them or passages for kids to read and then allow them to respond to them. A lot of assessments are also created natively within Schoology. I mean, you can create a quiz or a test within Schoology where the the information automatically gets dumped into the gradebook, which, if you spend the time to set up your gradebook, can be very useful as well. Because that way you're not going back and forth to Google all the time to kind of see what the kids or students did. We use a lot of Google Slides for presentations of things and information and content that is delivered asynchronously. So we'll send a lot of those things out ahead of time for students to look at, whether it be had to do with vocabulary or just videos that are within a slide or whatever. To kind of get that information ahead of time so that when we are more face-to-face, that we can have better discussions. And obviously Google Docs we use frequently, as far as comprehension, thought-provoking questions, that sort of thing. I will say this, and I'll just throw this one more material out there if I can get, can you still see my screen, Rachel?
Yes, it's back up and ready to go again.
All right, good. A very useful tool that we found in the spring. Assignments obviously are great. Quizzes obviously are really good. But if you're just looking for some quick discussions from students to see where their thinking is on something, you can click this add a discussion. There's one really good function with this. Now, of course, if you're dealing with secondary kids, they can find an easy way around it. But let's just say discussion about school. Let's just call it that. All right. So please give me your three thoughts about school 2021. Okay, so let's put that as the, and I always tend to make these a little bit bigger just so it catches their eye a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the question, right? So what you can do is you can obviously publish it to students. You can see, this is what I was going to show you. Members can see other responses before participating. So you can turn that on so they can see what other people wrote ahead of time, which you might want that. For something like this, you probably could leave that on, or you can leave it off. And that way you can't see what the other students wrote until you've given a response. So again, once you create it, it looks a little bit different. And then it's now a discussion about school. But I have teachers that use these every day kind of as a warm-up activity. So when the kids come in, they know, Chromebooks are up. Let's talk about, so it doesn't have to necessarily have an academic focus. It could be, tell me how you're feeling right now. So then you write a comment. So you type in there, school.
What's better, DC or Marvel?
Yeah, right. Hit post, and then it goes up there, and all the students will see the other students' responses. They can reply to each other. A lot of times, a teacher will put some comprehension questions in here if they're reading a passage, and then respond to the questions, but then give two of your classmates some feedback. So that way, we're kind of practicing that cycle a little bit, which is good. Those are the two. Discussions and assignments are the two things that we probably, along with quizzes and tests, are probably the three things that we use the most. And I can show you the quizzes and tests real quick too. If you can get those three mastered, then the rest of it is just icing on the cake. So tests and quizzes is here. Again, when you create a test or a quiz in Schoology, it's native to Schoology. So you will have all the data will be gathered within Schoology.
So, and like you said, that talks to your student data, like your student information system, and like puts the grades in there, or do you have to do some wizardry to export that?
We have been able to get it to sync with PowerSchool. I don't know at that architectural level. I don't know how to do that, but I do know that it has synced with PowerSchool. Yeah.
Okay.
So here you would add a question. These are your options: true or false, multiple choice, ordering, short answer, essay, fill in the blank. I mean, you got to get the idea. And then you put in whatever it is that you want for here. And then you add those questions as you go through them. So again, you kind of need to play around with it. It's a good idea. I know when I try to design something, I kind of put it out on paper, what my folder structure I want to look like. So for example, let me show you a few other folders I have in here. with some other content from before. But you want to, I mean, the one thing that I stress, and again, I'm talking K-5 level, but the one thing that I've always tried to stress to my staff is you want to have as few clicks as possible. So again, that hide or unpublished function becomes very important. So here's some PDs that I've done before, and I don't remember exactly what's in each of these folders. But, you know, I have, and this, I do remember this one. This one was, we had two different reflection posts I wanted them to reflect on to start with. We looked at a graph, and then we had some an example of what a lesson plan would look like, a little video to go through, and then we did a choose your own adventure. And I guess I didn't embed it, but I would choose your own adventure performance task, which was a Google form. So again, I wanted them to go in order of, you know, the assignments, and you can also create within the folder itself. Let me go back to the folder. Within the folder itself, you can create rules. Again, I don't know how, I'm getting way advanced in here, but you can create rules where they have to go through each thing in order if that's how you want it to go. So there's rules and orders that you can, so I can put student completion on it. So again,
you would have to look at the lesson plan document before you get into the choose your own adventure thing.
Right. So again, clicking on this, it requires the user to go in order from first to last.
Okay.
So, and then you can order those things simply by grabbing it and moving it around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can just grab it and move it. So let's just say I made a mistake and this should actually be the second thing, then I just move it down. Oh, wait a second, I want to look at this graph first. Oh, okay, let's grab it the right way and you just move it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, then you can just go back to options and say, student completion, you know, requirement must be complete in sequential order. There really is no other way. You have to kind of organize it in order. This way, you can't have it go from like 1 to 3. You have to put them in order.
Mm-hmm. So let me clarify. The stuff inside the folder, you can publish or unpublish that as well, or is it just the whole folder at the time?
Nope. You can unpublish. You can unpublish the whole folder, or I can unpublish just this particular assignment.
Okay.
I take that back. You might have to unpublish the whole folder. That is a good question, Rachel. I'm not 100%. Yeah, I don't think.
I like practicing good questioning, so that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I know the issue. It's in a hidden folder. So I think if I unhide the whole folder, I do believe I can.
Okay.
So unhide the whole folder, then I can go in and. Let's see.
If you have any teachers that are logging on right now, they might say, why is this folder from February 5th?
So let's go in there. That brings up a good point about notifications. So yeah, within this folder, now that this is unpublished, or I'm sorry, now that this is published, I can then unpublish just a particular assignment.
Okay.
Once the folder is published, then you can unpublish things within that folder.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know.
I will say this, with notifications, it's probably important for you to go to your settings, go through your notifications and turn them off up here. Because what you'll do is you'll get an email with every single time a student hands in an assignment or someone posts something to an update. So you can customize it, but for the most part, you know, you probably want to turn most of these things off. Some of the customizations, though, are nice. It just depends on, you know, as a system administrator, for my class this past, or for my school this past year, I had all of anything that was posted in updates. I wanted to track that in case a kid wrote something that was inappropriate, so I had record of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just flow directly into my email in a folder that I had created. So it just was housed there. I never really looked at it, and I would check the update section quite frequently anyway, just to kind of see what the students were up to. But yeah, just something to think about when you start your account and your courses, is to go through that settings and possibly turn off some of those notifications, or at least be aware of it, because you're going to get, excuse me, once students start using it and submitting work, you're going to get a million emails a day saying so-and-so submitted work.
Yes, that's true. So while we're talking about settings, this kind of goes along with it. Stephanie has another question. They ask, any tips for ways that you have created accommodations for students in Schoology and or G Suite for special education? If you have students with visual needs or different auditory things, what are some accommodating things that Schoology has available for those students with those needs?
Cool. So the one thing, I'll go back to this November PD folder, is you can record your voice and video whenever you want. So if you said add materials, let's say I have an assignment. There at the bottom, there's this little button here with a microphone. So audio video recording. So simply you would set audio. I mean, you can do either one, but I'll do audio video. So I'm recording this as an accommodation for students at in Mr. Timm's class to help them with what it is they're doing. So you stop recording, you insert the recording, just close recording, and then again you can put whatever directions. It could be. I mean, you could do this for every kid. You just add that accommodation. Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's getting into the UDL or Universal Design for Learning.
Sure.
Right, making sure that you have different types of directions and access to anyone who needs it.
Yeah, and again with this, it's just it'll just it doesn't have to necessarily download it. Usually, it just gives you a preview. Maybe taking a second to load, but anyway, it'll play the recording for you with whatever other directions you might have there. So yeah, you can do that. The other thing, going back to groupings, and I've assigned people groups just randomly because this is again my staff, but I've assigned them. So for example, if you see Kelly Batten here, she's a part of the Sixers, Olivia's a part of the Phillies, Victoria Bennett's a part of the Eagles, Jason's a part of the Flyers. They're all Philadelphia sports teams, but they're in groups. So you could ability group them and then assign. You could create 3 similar assignments and then assign one. For example, to the Eagles, one to the Flyers, based on their ability as well. You could also do it that way. So you could create one assignment and have multiple accommodations on it, or create multiple assignments and assign them to whatever group is appropriate. Hopefully that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I like how those groupings are saved. That's a different thing. That's different than Google Classroom, where you would have to go in and select them every time.
Correct. Yeah. And then, if I go back to materials, I mean, you want to set those up ahead of time, but if I go back to materials and go to one of my assignments, I want to edit it. Then it's down here at the bottom. I just individually assign, and I just put that group name in. So I just put Flyers, and there it is. All the people that I have in Flyers are going to get that assignment, and only them. So if you're part of the Sixers or the Phillies or the Eagles, you're not going to ever see this assignment because it's individually assigned to them.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a very useful tool. So. Rachel, I got about 5 more minutes. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions or anything else you want me to show you in particular. I know this is a really quick overview, but
well, we're always happy to have you back if people have more questions or if there are other pressing Schoology issues. I don't see anything in any of the comments at this point. Okay. So we can hang around for a couple more minutes, and if anybody has any questions, we'll see those in the chat. But I do want to say that if you are looking for what events we have coming up, we have our calendar at gegvirtual.com/live-pd. We have a calendar there, and we also have a Google form. If you are someone who wants to present on anything Google related to our GEG Virtual group, that's kind of redundant. Shouldn't say that. GEG Virtual. We welcome you to fill out that form, and the admins of the group will get back to you, and we can get that on our schedule. So Stephanie says thank you. I will also say thank you to Doug. We appreciate you giving part of your day to us and helping us with Schoology and G Suite. And I don't see any other questions coming in, so we'll let you go a couple minutes early. And we hope everybody has had a great time learning this. And let us know if you have any more questions, and we'll be happy to help you out.
And good luck. Thank you.
Yes. Well, have a wonderful school year.
All right. See ya.
Bye now.